How does the current state of the Gaza conflict reflect on the international stage, specifically in the context of arms deliveries? This question has been resonating across the globe as the ongoing conflict in Gaza continues to escalate, with an alarming impact on the civilian population. The situation is dire. The death toll has reached a staggering 41,825 Palestinian casualties, with the majority of these being civilians, not combatants. This is not just a conflict, it's a humanitarian crisis. Now, let's take a moment to consider the role of international arms deliveries in this scenario. These deliveries, often from powerful nations, are seen by many as a catalyst, fueling the conflict and perpetuating the cycle of violence. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but one that's crucial to understanding the broader geopolitical dynamics at play. This situation raises serious questions about the responsibility of the international community in supplying arms. What has been the international response to this conflict and the role of arms deliveries? The international community has been anything but silent. A number of countries have voiced their concerns, with actions ranging from calls for peace to active intervention. At the forefront, we have French President Emmanuel Macron, who has made a bold call for a halt to arms deliveries to Israel. Macron's stance isn't purely about the hardware, though. He's emphasized the need for a political solution, expressing deep concern over the humanitarian impact of the violence. Across the Atlantic, the United States, a major provider of military aid to Israel, finds itself in a complex position. The U.S. has a long-standing commitment to Israel's security, but the escalating conflict and its humanitarian cost are impossible to ignore. The balance between strategic interests and human rights isn't an easy one to strike. Over in Britain, there's a different kind of response. The British government has suspended some arms exports to Israel. Their reason? Concerns about potential violations of international humanitarian law. It's a move that sends a clear message about the country's stance on the conflict. Macron's focus isn't limited to Israel and Gaza. He's also raised a red flag about Lebanon, warning that it could become another Gaza if the situation escalates. It's a stark reminder that this conflict could have broader implications for the Middle East. These responses reflect a growing international concern about the role of arms deliveries in the conflict. So, what are the key points we should take from this discussion? The ongoing conflict in Gaza is marked by a tragically high number of civilian casualties. The role of international arms deliveries in fueling this conflict cannot be overstated. France, under President Macron, has called for a halt to these deliveries to Israel, stressing the necessity of a political solution. Meanwhile, the United States continues to provide substantial military aid, while Britain has suspended some arms exports due to concerns over possible violations of international humanitarian law. As the conflict continues, the role of international arms deliveries and the responses of the international community remain critical points of discussion.